Darren, it's been a little bit of time since the match. Do you sort of let go of frustrations like that quickly, or has it sort of bothered you the last couple of weeks?
It bothers you. I think when you spend so long, even with the obviously the break in the season, but when you give so much to a campaign and so many people like the supporters and the staff and the players give so much back, it has stayed with me. I wasn't a pleasant human being for a good 7 days after that. That was for sure. And the really disappointing thing for me, and Terry in particular, and the players, was if you'd have said after a 4-month break and with 4 weeks of preparation time that we were going to play the way we played and create the chances that we created, I'd have snapped your hand off. I'd have been delighted that we were going to be able to perform that way. I thought physically we looked good, in terms of the time and how we were able to prepare. I thought physically we were in a good place, and I was really pleased. I was really, really pleased with the performance. It's just obviously on the day, in any day, in any game, if you don't take those chances, you just leave yourself so fragile.
Absolutely. And will you be watching the final on Sunday?
No.
Fair enough. Any predictions on what's going to happen, or are you not that interested?
Not interested.
Fair enough.
I'm a petulant child, and I'm not a very good loser. I'll probably watch it after it's happened. I don't think I'll watch it on the day. I know Neil better than I know the Harrogate manager, and but it's we wanted to be there, desperately wanted to be there, and it's a kick in the teeth watching someone else do what you were supposed to be doing.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm sure all your efforts are geared towards planning for next season. Are you somewhere where you got a retained list yet? What's the situation with the plans for the next campaign?
No, that's a good point, really, because I thought about retain and release lists, and the problem I got with retain and release lists is I don't like the release part of it. I think we like name and shame in our industry of who we're keeping or who we'd want to keep and who we don't want to keep. I don't think it's very kind in any way, retained and release lists. I certainly wouldn't want to see my name under a released heading. So we in terms of our club, in terms of Yeovil, I think we're still kind of trying to recalibrate exactly what COVID-19 has done to us financially. I think we're trying to recalibrate what we're going to be able to do and what we're going to be able to spend. We are going to have to make cuts 100% to the playing budget. And unless we earn our way back into that budget during the season, bringing back lots of fans or FA Cup runs are always a good way of building that fund. Then like most clubs, I think we're going to be playing at a reduction, and because of that, it makes it really hard to kind of release any sort of retained and release list, because we don't still really know where we are in our financial footing, our financial footprint. So we are going to put something up on the website today just to inform everyone on who is still under contract. And the great thing is, I mean, I joined the club and we had 9 players in the dressing room. One was Luke Wilkinson, who I signed on day one, and 4 of the other 8 were first-year pros. 18-year-old lads who had just come out of the youth team, just graduated from the academy. We're very, very fortunate this year that we'll probably be starting pre-season without any, if I take away any negotiations or any plans to retain or who we can retain and who we can't retain. I think we're walking back in day one with 12 players, 2 being 2 second-year pros, but 10 senior players that include, these are the players that are still, on contract. We'd still have Wilkinson, Collins, Lawson Diath, Albie Skendi, Tom Bradbury, Matt Worthington, Courtney Doofus, Reece Murphy, Miles Hippolyte, and then obviously Alex John and Gabby Rogers. I'll probably miss one in there. If I've missed you and you're listening, sorry, but you kind of played that well recently, so that's why I've forgotten. So we're coming in a completely different foundations, and we've got some good pillars and some good blocks already laid, which I'm really pleased with. I would absolutely love to keep 95% of this squad. I would absolutely love to, because their personalities, their character, their charisma, they make coming to work a very enjoyable place. And being a football manager is not always the most enjoyable job, but when you come to work every day with the people I've got to work with for the last 10 months, they made it an absolute, and made it a pleasure to be their line manager. So I'd love to keep everyone. I don't think we're going to be able to. In an ideal world, you'd keep as many of those players, 95%, and you'd add another 5% of upgrades to try and get that gap. And that gap now is very small, isn't it? We're trying to improve from fourth. And signing players that are going to get you from fourth to first, hypothetically, is harder than building a team from scratch, without doubt.
Absolutely. And you mentioned the sort of finances. I'm sure people in your position at clubs up and down the National League are going to be facing similar things. Do you think that it almost sort of levels the playing field, that every club is going to have the same issues, or are there some that you think they'll be better placed to withstand it?
There is. I mean, off the top of my head, if I think in League Two and in the National League, who are the market leaders or the pace setters in terms of recruitment, you're probably looking at Forest Green, have done some very, very early work and some good work and good people at Forest Green. Mansfield have done a lot of work with Graham Coughlin being there, for his first pre-season. And in terms of the National League, Stockport County have blown everyone away. I mean, it's just been bang, 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 sign, and paying transfer fees and what they pay their players is none of my business. But they have certainly set the pace in terms of recruitment and actually getting players into the building, signed, sealed, and delivered. I think whatever the league, regardless of COVID-19, I think there'll always be the two or three that are going to spend huge amounts of money. We never spent huge amounts of money. I can't stress this enough. Last year, we were mid-table. We were 12th. In the league table of finances for the National League, we were 12th. So we spent our money very, very well. And you've got lots of examples in every league of teams that spend lots of money and they don't spend it very well. So you might as well have no money. So what we've got to carry on doing is we've got to carry on spending our money very well. And like I said, it gets harder, the closer you get, because the percentages are so small now in terms of what you need or what you'd like. Normally it costs a little bit more to fill that gap, which we're not going to have. So we're going to have to be really smart here. There's going to have to be a great deal of intelligence from the club, the staff, the recruitment, everything to try and bridge those gaps. But it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. It's going to be next year is going to be far tougher than the season just gone. Far tougher.
Okay, and just finally from me, in terms of your planning, obviously budgets, as you say, are still being worked out for the new season. It's all sort of shifted a little bit, but you've only got a couple of months between now and when the season's going to start. Are you hopeful you'll be in a competitive position by then with whatever players you've got?
Well, yeah, I think the nature of what is already in the dressing room will definitely keep us competitive. If I think back to the first game of the season when we played Barnet, I think 6 of that team weren't playing by the end of the season. I think it was something like that. So that's an incredible start season, and change half a team during your season is an incredible number. So the fact that we start the season with, for example, Courtney in a completely different place. I didn't even pick him for the first squad, Courtney. So, Courtney will be in a completely different place. Having Wilkinson, Collins, all of those players back in the changing room ready to go again. Injury pending. It does give us some strong foundations, definitely.
Fantastic. Thank you, Darren.
Thanks, mate. Top man.
Me next.
Indeed, yes.
Yes, right. Good morning, Darren. How are you?
Yeah, good. Aid, you?
Yeah, not so bad, mate. Not so bad. You mentioned some players that you have got more time on their contracts, but there was two names that you missed out there, Charlie Lee and Jimmy Smith. What hopes of getting them back?
Well, Jimmy, we'll take Jimmy's a different. They're both completely different, because Jimmy obviously was a loanee, and he's out of contract at his parent club very shortly. That will all be about Jimmy. Will all be about Jimmy's expectations, where he thinks he is financially, where he thinks he needs to be, and it'll all be about the capability of the football club to maybe be able to bring him back in. I've not had that conversation yet with him, because until I understand, until the club understands where it is, there's no point. There's no point having that conversation. I don't like messing people around. I've never been one of those that spins plates and things like that. If the timing's right, which it was this year for Jimmy, especially when he came in on loan the first time, and our capabilities match Jimmy's expectations, then I'm sure there's a very, very positive discussion to be had. Right now, that we're 100 miles away from that at the minute, I think. Charlie's different, because he was obviously a contracted player, and like all of the players that are out of contract, I'd love to keep. I'd absolutely love to keep. Really would. Charlie would be, was very close to the top of that wish list. And again, it'll all be about what we can do, what we can try and exercise as a club in terms of those finances, and hopefully that will come to a point where the wee man returns. Both players were fantastic for us last year. Charlie in particular. I think Charlie, I found out only a couple of days after the game, he was our most appeared player, which, when you consider that he's always injured, he's not particularly athletic, is an incredible testament to his character and his mentality. And listen, also the way we managed him, because he is a 33-year-old footballer, played a lot of games, he's got a lot of wear and tear now in his body. But Charlie was fantastic for us, and he's a proper character and a real winner. And I've been at club before where I let Charlie slip through my fingers, which was my fault, and hopefully I won't have to make that mistake again.
Yeah, bearing in mind that the COVID restrictions and the whole effect of COVID on the football industry as a whole, what do you consider to be your ideal number to have in the squad?
30.
Right. Okay.
Three for every outfield position.
Yeah.
Hope Scott's not listening to this. I'm mad. No, look, I think I'll be delighted. If when the season rolls, we've got 18 outfield players and 2 goalkeepers, I'll be doing cartwheels. I'll be doing absolute cartwheels, backflips. I'll be delighted if that's what we can bring in. The one thing we obviously did very well last year was the loan market. You look at Adam Smith on loan, you look at Jimmy Smith on loan, and for me, the pick of the bunch, Romeo Hutton from Birmingham, who was a financially an unbelievable loan for us, because all we were charged with doing was giving him an education and experience, of senior football, to have used and had Romeo. I thought he was outstanding, Romeo, absolutely outstanding. And he what he gave to us, he gave a lovely balance to us, where we were very experienced and very charismatic and very strong, but maybe not as quick. No names mentioned, Dicko, Colo. He gave us that lovely balance. And he was an outstanding asset to us. and he went through, like all young players, he went through peaks and troughs where he was good. I remember we went to Wrexham away and he was awful, absolutely awful. I think I ended up with Lawson Diath at right back. But then you see him play away at Dover before the lockdown. He was incredible, absolutely incredible. Everything about him was incredible. Even the bit at the end, you know, that was normally the bit with Romeo when we were getting bombarded and the big fellas were coming back post and trying to get an advantage over him. That's normally where I used to wake him off. But he was incredible, incredible. And by the way, the most wonderful human being as well. So we were very clever in getting him, but we were also very lucky with what we got out of him. And you know, he had a wonderful experience. And I know he would love to come back. Whether that's feasible or not, I don't know. But you know, we use that loan market really well. Really well.
So what comes next now for Darren Sarll then? I mean, you know, you've got, I don't know,
I'd like
6-8 weeks. Yeah. No, but I mean, have you got a holiday lined up or anything? Can you fit a holiday in?
No. I don't think so. I mean, I'm only talking my own personal view is I'm still very wary of what is going on in the world, even though I think, you know, there's a big line share now of people that are returning to normality and are almost unconscious of what we've just gone through. So I don't think it's the right time to take my family to another country or to expose them to anything. And I've got to say, for the first time in my career, because I've never been great at going on holidays. I'm not a relaxing type. I don't like laying around. I don't like reading books. Don't like any of that. So I like being at work. But for the first time in my career, I'd like a holiday. I'd like to go abroad with my family. We haven't had a holiday since before I joined Watford. And that was an incredible, stressful time as well. And then this season's been great fun. Absolutely at the time of my life this year. But with COVID and lockdown and things like that, we've got a very young daughter. I think we could have done with a holiday, but I still don't think it's quite right out there, the world, to do that. Maybe I'm being a bit frigid almost by having that thought, but it's not for. I don't think it's right to put my children, more importantly, into that situation where, can you imagine if you went abroad, Aid, and something happened, you got to get them home, and you can't get them home because they might be poorly, and then you can't be with your children because of quarantine and so on and so that still petrifies the life out of me. So no, we're going to stay in sunny Somerset, and this is the absolute beauty of being in a part of the world like this. You know, we've got lots and lots of sea and sand around us, and if we can pick the right day where it's not marauded, then that'll be as good as a holiday for us.
Best you pop down the Lime Regis for the day there, mate. You'll be all right down there.
Yeah.
But finally, for me, friendlies. You mentioned back along that the chances are you'd like to sort of support the local teams around here. Have you got any plans in place yet? And how
no. Yeah, just gone through that literally an hour ago with our club secretary. So obviously we can't play everyone.
No.
Even though I probably set myself up. We had a lot of requests. I think a lot of people heard what my intentions were. We've got some games in that we need to play that have been arranged since before lockdown, because normally pre-season starts getting arranged around January time. So we'd already committed to a game at Newport County, and I'm not one to say I'm going to do something and then not do it. So that's been booked in for a fair few months. So we're going to go and play Newport, I think early September away. The pitch won't be ready for a while. So a lot of it's going to be away. We're playing, I think we've agreed to, we've got to play Stratford as part of the Albi Skendi arrangement. So we're going to go and play Stratford at Stratford. And then the rest are all going to be Somerset based, I think. Yes. So I believe Weston-super-Mare, we're going to go. I'm trying to do something a little bit different this year. Just, I realise the importance of Yeovil as a professional entity to the county, and I know we've got some traditions of playing teams, the same teams every year. I kind of want to venture about a little bit. So Weston-super-Mare, I think we're going to play. And I think there's a few other teams where we're going back to them today to say, look, these are the dates we've got available. If you can fit them in, we'd love to come and play you. And they're all Somerset based. And then hopefully we'll have a couple of games at the end where we play at home. Hopefully one of those two will have some sort of spectators in it to prepare for the new season as almost like a trial run. I think that's the thought process at the moment. But the other thing that became quite difficult in terms of pre-season friendlies was our league starts later than any other league. So after the 12th or the 19th of September, everyone's in their league campaigns. And obviously they've got no time to play friendlies because we all know we are going to be Saturday, Tuesday for a large part of the season. So back end of September has become quite difficult or restrictive to who we can and can't play.
I mean, overall, how many games do you think you're likely to play in terms of pre-season?
Normally 6 or 7. Normally 6
right.
or 7. We'll play a couple of, there'll be some games for the youth teams and some for some of the access. And then that has access to, using the youth team players and a few first team players, normal stuff. I'm trying to get around as many clubs as I can. And if we can't get it done in pre-season, we'll look to do it during the course of the year, or we'll look at it. I just thought we'd do maybe something a bit different from my experiences from going to these places for the first time. I think Yeovil has a bigger part to play in Somerset than maybe we thought of beforehand. And if we did think of it, I don't think we've acted upon that. So I want to make sure that we give, people have got to understand we're going to, if those clubs that we visit can have fans, we're going to take a few fans. We've got a brilliant fan base and we can really help these clubs. So I think we have a duty to share that around. I don't think we have a duty of saying we've played X for 20 years. We got to play them for the 21st year. I don't subscribe to that. I subscribe to trying to support the community of Somerset and some of the smaller clubs, some of the mid-range clubs, and some of the better clubs. We've still got a season to prepare for. So I think it's important. But so look, I'm quite excited by it. I'm really looking forward to doing the games, especially like I said, the non-league games. Everyone's got this thought process with pre-season. You've got to play these massive teams, and I didn't enjoy 1 minute conceding 6 against Swansea. Why play them? We didn't fill the ground. There wasn't 6,000 in the ground.
No,
probably 1,500, 1,800. So, I'm not huge on stuff like that. So I think we have a role here, this football club, with who we are in this county and the size of the county. And I want to kind of, I always want to try and support the community.
Just one final question. When do the players come back for start of pre-season? There's times all over the place.
Yeah, the idea is going to be week commencing the 17th. At some point during that week, there are a few more permutations and variables that we need to organise before they can actually come back. But the general gist is going to be somewhere around the 17th. It might be the Wednesday of that week, the 19th, for example. It could be that. But if we came back on the 17th, I think it's a 7-week pre-season, which is quite a long pre-season. So as long as we've got 6 weeks to run the absolute granny out of them, that's fine.
So you've got a pretty busy 2 weeks coming up then. Best of luck.
Yeah, no, great. Yeah, good. Listen, better than being quarantined, isn't it?
Yeah, too right. Thanks, Darren. Brilliant.
Any from you, Paul?
Hi, Darren. Just one quick one. Going back to the transfers, I know there's a lot of unknowns, but is there any kind of areas you feel you're going to need to strengthen for next season?
Yeah, look, I think the general gist of the problem is people take the last game, don't they? So I've heard lots of comments and opinions or observations, shall we say, of, we didn't take any chances. We need to sign a goal scorer. Courtney and Reece Murphy got 40 goals between them, so I think we're okay there in terms of goals scored. I think I always try and upgrade certain positions, which I think in this moment, before players have been communicated properly to about their futures, I'll probably keep to myself. But you've got to try and improve, and I always think you've got to try and improve in the key areas of a pitch rather than the position. And you can see from the other day, between the boxes, we were outstanding. That's all the players in terms of our build-up play, our creation of chances. We never sat off, we never backed away, we attacked. So I always think if you can improve what's going on in the boxes, however which way you translate that, it's up to you. I think you give yourself a better chance of having more positive outcomes to games. So I think that's important. I think if I go a bit further afield, I thought that the one dynamic we missed after January was, and I definitely felt, I actually thought about it during the game, in the playoff game, was I thought we did miss a James Tilley type, but Lawson Diath was giving us a similar type of creation when he was fit. But I did think we missed that dribbling type of a Tilley, a manipulator of the ball, someone that can be in tight positions, tight areas, and get out of it with that quality, that craft or mischief. I think we did miss that, and I would like to have someone of that ilk. I'd like James Tilley, really, but plays for someone else. To add to what, some strong foundations already.
Lovely. And just one more. It's been obviously quite a year. Do you have a particular highlight of your first year at Yeovil?
Yeah. First time I went to, Aid's going to laugh. First time I went to Lyme Regis, I thought, wow, I thought I was in another country. I thought I was somewhere very exotic and far afield. I thought it was a beautiful location. And then always the first win, which was Eastleigh at home, was a special moment. That's the first time I kind of got a glimpse or a feeling from what these supporters are really, really about. And that made me hair stand up on the back of my neck, goosebumps. I loved Solihull away. I absolutely loved Solihull away. Just the whole Scott taking over, Luke scoring. I thought we played really well that day. Luke making the save, having them silly things up his nose, getting hammered afterwards in the press, everything. I really enjoyed Solihull. And I've got to say, the Halifax at home game, I thought we were particularly brilliant. And Torquay away, I thought were great. But I've got to say, anyone that gets width of this media session, I've had an absolute fantastic season. I've had the best time in my career bar none. I've loved it. I like where we are. I love the connection between the players and the supporters. And I think I think when people really enjoy their job and are being backed, and I'm being heavily encouraged. Yeah, I get moaned at every now and then, but they just do that from 20 meters away. No one's really brave enough to come up to me and moan. I'm being heavily encouraged every week to be myself and to produce a team and be creative, and that really does help. I know I'm kind of I'm preaching to the converted, but it really does help, and I've been encouraged enormously by our supporters and by Scott and the board and the people who work at the club. And so it's been a really, really enjoyable year. I've really enjoyed it. But I also know, and I say this very seriously, next year will be so tough. It's so tough, because we've stretched the expectations. Everyone now is going to expect, well, if you finish fourth this year, minimum you've got to finish is third. It doesn't work like that. It never works like that. it especially doesn't work like that after a pandemic. So, you know, it's going to be a really tough year. It'll be interesting to see whether I'm being encouraged in January still. But that's the nature of the job, I'm afraid. And but yeah, again, to all of those that have been with us this year, I thank them from the bottom of my heart, because you've certainly given me that enthusiasm and that love back for a brilliant job, and a brilliant job at a really great club.